That's all
Yeah.
good. All right. Okay, good. We're live here now.
Exciting.
So attendees are going to start hopping in now, which is good to see.
Good. I'm gonna pull up this.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight on your Wednesday evening. A couple folks have logged in so far. One of these I know already, which is great. So, this is good. Lots of sports talk tonight. I think the excitement coming up in the next month is going to be a sports fan's dream.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I don't know how to take all this in because it's going to be crazy with hockey and baseball and basketball and just going to be like 24/7 sports, eh?
Sports overload. It's going to be
Yeah.
good. I don't think I'll be seeing my fiance for a while. He's going to be locked in front of the TV.
Yeah. What are you guys looking forward to seeing the most? Which sport?
Of course, baseball.
Baseball?
I saw the Jays had some like inter squad games that they were broadcasting.
Yeah, did you hear today they still don't have a home?
Uh-oh.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that they were declined Toronto.
Yeah, well then they were supposed to go into Pittsburgh and now Pittsburgh has said Pennsylvania won't let them in either.
I thought Buffalo.
I don't know. For everyone who's joining right now, on the bottom you'll see the little chat button. If you want to open the chat and type in, just make sure you click it to all panelists and attendees so that everyone can see if you want to post a message. But type in which sport you're looking forward to seeing coming up in August here, whether that's NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, maybe the NFL. So I'm gonna
Hockey.
Sasha wrote in some hockey. I'm gonna say all because I can't pick one. Raptors, yes, love it. We're gonna hopefully have a repeat. Would be amazing for that.
That would be great.
Champions League soccer, nice, love it.
Maybe the Leafs can win this year. Who knows?
You know what the irony is? I was thinking about this the other day. This is of all years for the Leafs to win the cup. Imagine they win this year.
Yeah.
And it's like no one can go to the stadium and watch it.
Yeah.
So no one can celebrate it.
No.
And no one can go to a parade, like as if of all years, right? This is year, and then it doesn't happen for another 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
All right, good. We're getting a bunch of people are coming in now, which is great.
Good.
We're gonna get started here in a couple minutes. Excuse me. We'll just let a couple more people sign in, and hopefully we've got a lot of young athletes hanging out with us tonight. We won't bore you too much. Aaron and Steph have prepared an amazing presentation, and stay tuned at the end. There's going to be some cool stuff coming out. So we're super excited for all that. Again, for those who are hopping on, in the chat feature, if you click on all panelists and attendees, you can type in a question there. We just put it out to everyone, which sport you're looking forward to seeing the most come August. So far we've had some hockey, Raptors, soccer. So feel free to throw in your answer there if you want, just to test out the chat and see how it's working for you. But everyone's streaming in here. We're gonna give it a few more minutes and then we'll get started. Perfect. Yeah, Aaron, the Jays need a home.
Hopefully soon. Need to get some baseball back on the TV.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to be playing. They're going to be like, it's like a circus. They're going to show up to someone's stadium and then they're going to have to make that their home stadium.
Yeah. Just show up. This is where we're playing.
Yeah. Pretty terrible. But nonetheless. All right. So I think we should get started here. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Yeah, we're ready.
We're ready whenever.
Perfect. Okay, so welcome everybody. My name's Mike Pimelli, and I'm one of the physios at Aurora Sports Medicine Professionals. And tonight we've got a great presentation coming up here, Keys to Success as a young athlete. So I hope we have the attention of all the young athletes tonight. We're going to be talking about a bunch of information that, might help you out right now, or you already know about it. And maybe you've heard it already before, but sometimes it's good to hear it from the professionals tell you instead of mom or dad or your coach. If you hear it from a number of people, then you start to think, hey, this stuff really is true. This is what we should be doing. So that's what we hope to do tonight, and at least provide you guys with a little bit of information, and maybe you take away one thing that improves your training this summer and gets you ready for sports coming up. So moving on, again, as I had mentioned at the bottom, there is a little chat button. If you have a question, please feel free to input it there. Just make sure it says all panelists and attendees when you click on that, and then we can see your question. And I'll be kind of moderating things, so I'll keep an eye on the questions tonight, and I'll ask Aaron and Steph as they're going along. When it's time, we can ask some questions. And for sure at the end, we have our guest speaker tonight who plays in the NHL. And I've got a series of questions I'm going to be asking him tonight that I think some of you guys out there might want to know. And if you have further questions, we can certainly bring those up with him as well. So moving on, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to both Aaron and Steph. They're physios at the clinic, amazing physios. Maybe some of you guys on this webinar tonight have seen them. I have been a patient, and you know how great they are. So I won't belabor, other than they're very experienced, and they do some amazing stuff with the young athletes in the office. And I always love to see the kids getting challenged in there, and good competition going on in the office. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Aaron and Steph. Go ahead, guys.
Awesome. So thanks for tuning in, guys. My name's Aaron. Just a quick, brief summary about me. I was a baseball player growing up competitively. I played as high as the women's provincial team at a national level. And that was sort of me in my prime. And now I'm just washed up and enjoy helping you guys to achieve the same things. And of course, I had some struggles with injuries and had physio that was like super successful for me. So kind of led me to where I am today.
Awesome. I'm Steph. Unlike Aaron, I was not a superstar athlete. I played house league and I did recreational dance when I was growing up for a number of years, but I did not make it to that elite level. However, I've always appreciated sports, really love fitness. I work a lot with the dancers as well, and into like cross training and that sort of thing. So definitely appreciate sports, love it, but you probably don't want me on your team. Great cheerleader though.
I would take you on my team, Steph.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna start the night with some fun. So we have a few polls for you guys that Mike is just gonna put out with a couple questions. So please start to fill them out, and we will go over the results.
All right.
So that should be coming up now. You guys see that there on your screen, Steph and Aaron?
We see it, yeah.
Yeah,
No one's voted yet.
Yeah.
Feel free to vote, guys.
Yeah, they'll get going on that. So go ahead and start putting in your answers, guys.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah. So this is a good one to kind of get a sense of who our audience is tonight, what level of sport they're playing, or what sport they're playing. Just to throw it in there, I'm an athlete myself, guys.
Of course, we didn't.
Yes,
we shouldn't have left you out.
I played competitive baseball my whole life, rep level. So like yourself, Aaron, we're
We're one in the same.
we like spending our time on a baseball diamond.
That's true.
But nonetheless.
And both catchers.
Yes, we were both catchers. Those are, captains of the on-field team there, right?
Exactly.
So, all right, we'll give this a few more seconds. Everyone get their votes in. Get your votes in. And then we'll end the poll here. All right, so we've got some results there. So it looks like we've got a bunch of kids in that 10 to 15 year age range, right, guys?
Yep.
And
got
look at the level of sport,
Oh, very
the
good.
high level
Amazing.
of rep.
Yeah.
We have
Look-
one elite provincial national athlete with us tonight. That's awesome.
Awesome. Good.
Oh, and I like this balance of the sports here.
Yeah, baseball. Look at that, guys.
Yep. Lots of baseball players out tonight. We've got the right crowd here.
Good, good.
Yeah,
We
there
got
you
some.
go.
We got some other as well. I'm curious what the other is, guys. Maybe if you click the other, just type in the chat what your sport is. Curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll share all these. I'm going to share all these results. This way everyone can see it who voted.
Oh, golf. Very good.
Yeah,
Golf.
so there you go. So everyone should see all the different
Trampoline.
answers and they can see who's on tonight. So
Awesome.
trampoline, right.
That's
Good.
cool. Awesome. Great.
Okay, great.
Very good.
Thanks, Jen.
All right.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Moving on here.
All right. So the reason we wanted to see everyone's age range and what level of sport you play is because everyone has different interactions with their coaches right now while we're all kind of at home during this COVID time. So everyone may have different levels of activity right now. Some of you may be doing Zoom workouts. Some of you may have personal training with a coach online, that sort of thing. But we want to make sure that when you guys go back to playing sports, when we get that green light from the government, that everyone has some baseline level of fitness so that when you go back, hopefully you won't get injured. So our goal for today and today's agenda is that we're going to give you some key pointers for you to stay healthy and active during your time at home. So the first thing, or first key to success, is we're going to talk about how to properly warm up and work on some mobility to prevent some injuries. We are going to talk about how you can stay fit with minimal equipment. Erin's going to be giving us some exercises and you'll get to watch me demo them. We're going to do some sport-specific training, talk about drills and things that you can work on at home, talking about some cool down and relaxation after you've done some training or working out. And then we can talk about some ways for you guys to stay connected with your team while you're not physically together. And then we're going to have some Q&A if you have any questions about anything we talked about today. And then our very special guest is going to be coming in and joining us at the end, where you can ask him some questions, or he'll be telling us his tips. And if you stay tuned, there is a giveaway at the very end. So stay tuned, stick around. It's going to be great. We're excited to have him here as well. All right. So our first key to success is how to warm up effectively. So when I was a young person playing house league soccer, we stood around in a circle and we stretched our quads and then we ran out and played. Nowadays, we know that's not the way that we warm up. There's been lots of science to show that a good dynamic warm up that includes some mobility and some running and some strengthening is a way to prevent injuries. So we have two examples here, the FIFA 11 Plus and the Ready Set Prevent, which are designed by sports medicine professionals and doctors. And these are what are used for young people to stay healthy and warm up before they play. So we're going to go over the components of these two programs. So our first part of our warm up is the running portion. So you set up a couple cones, usually about 15 to 20 meters apart. You can also just use the length of the field, or if you're at home right now, you can use your driveway or run up and down the sidewalk. But what you're going to do is just do some form of light running and jogging to warm up your heart and to get the blood flowing to all your muscles. So you can do examples of a forward and backwards run. You can do side shuffles. You can do some karaoke or grapevines. And you're just trying to get the blood flowing. So it's not a sprint. It's just a light jogging warm up. So that's the first part. The second part is your dynamic stretching. So this is what prepares your muscles for activity, while also addressing any of your flexibility issues. So we're working on the big muscles like your hamstrings, your back muscles, your hips. We're trying to open all those up and get you moving. So things like inchworms, where you kind of walk your hands out into a plank and then you walk your feet up. You can go across the length of the room, or you can stay in a static position and just do like 5 reps of that. Then we can do the Spider-Man stretches, also known as a lizard stretch, and then your Frankenstein's or your straight leg march. These are just a couple examples. There's lots, but just trying to get those big muscle groups all warmed up. Then there's strengthening. That's the next portion. So you want to focus on some body weight exercises that target your legs, your core, and your balance. It's really important that you have really good form when you're doing this. You can see the girl in the picture has all the green dots aligning up her position there to make sure that her knees aren't caving in, and she's staying nice and tall through her chest. There's not necessarily specific exercises that you can go on, but squats, lunges, planks, bridges are some basic ones that you can do, 5 to 10 reps, just warming things up. This is not to be done instead of your dry land training. This is just something you would do before your exercise to just warm up those muscles that you're going to use. Then we have balance. So this is really important for when you're jumping and landing. You need to have good coordination and stabilization for when you're landing. So we want to work on some balance drills. You start simply with just standing on one foot and holding that and making sure that you can balance. And once you've achieved that for about 30 to 60 seconds, you can progress to a more dynamic thing. So in this second picture, she's doing toss and catch with a soccer ball. If you're a basketball player, you can maybe dribble the ball or shoot some hoops while you're standing on one foot. Or if you play racket sport, you can, juggle the ball on your racket or hit it against the garage door or something, just to make it a little bit more challenging. And then our last portion is plyometrics. So this is jumping and landing drills. They're explosive jumping exercises that focus on strength, power, and speed. But it's really important when you're doing these that you land softly and that you have good alignment when you land. So we don't want to see those knees caving in or rolling out on your ankles. That's not what these are intended for. You want to make sure you're starting with an easier one. So in the first picture, the girl is doing a two-legged jump squat. So 2 legs is much easier, and you can coordinate that better before you progress to something more dynamic, like your jumping lunges or the single leg jumps and lands. So again, you would maybe do about 5 to 10 reps of these, getting those muscles all warmed up. And so that way, when you do go and be explosive in your sport, you're all prepared for that. So that's the basics of a warm up. So you had your running, your dynamic stretching, your strengthening, your balance, and then your plyometrics. Now you can do these before you play when you go back to sport, but right now we're working out at home, so you can do some of these components. You don't have to make a huge, big warm up, but just pick some of these that you can do at home so that when you are training, that you're ready to train.
Can I mention one thing there before we'll go to the poll? But one of the cool things is when I go to see a live sporting event. So if I go watch like the Jays or the Raptors, you know what, kids out there, like, watch when you go and you get there early enough, you can watch these athletes actually doing this stuff, right?
Yeah,
they're not
definitely.
just standing around talking to each other. Especially in basketball, I was really intrigued by this, because you would see a bunch of players shooting and stuff, but then there'd be some guys in mid-court, and they're literally going through a lot of these different exercises, stretching and strengthening things. So it was really cool to see. So
Yeah,
you'll be able to see it, kids. So when you start going to some of these games, just have a look at that and you'll see what's going on. Yeah.
Awesome.
And just another point to that is, like, when you guys have your games and practices and whatnot, like, you should be getting there early to make sure that you're getting an effective warm up in. So that's something to keep in mind when you say, Mom and Dad, I got to leave at this time. Is that getting there for game time, or is that getting there to warm up properly?
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so we've got a second poll coming up.
Okay, let me get that. All right.
All right, so we've got a few questions on the screen there for you guys. So take a peek and put your votes in, and we will discuss the results.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. I have a feeling, playing outside, I want to see some good responses on this one.
Who has been learning all the TikTok dances?
Yes.
Yeah.
Steph, I feel like that's right up your alley.
Yeah, that's more something. That's more something I would do rather than playing rep baseball.
Too much Fortnite. I need help. Here we go. This is what I was worried about.
Those are your kids.
Come on, let's go. Playing outside, family and friends. Let's win this one.
Very good.
Good job,
very good.
guys.
Oh, look, and there quite a few of them are pretty active every day.
Every day, yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Fortnite is creeping its way up there to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, they need help. Hang on, we're going to post this in a second here. All right, I'm going to end it there, and I'm going to share the results.
Good
So everyone can see, you know, exercise prevailed here, guys. Playing outside with friends and family.
Good
Good job,
job.
guys.
We beat Fortnite.
And some of the
Look at that. No one's doing TikTok. There you go.
just
Oh, TikTok's out, I guess. Is TikTok lame now?
I don't
guess
know.
so. We're
And
too old
everyone's
for it
every
anyways.
day. Look, everyone's doing stuff every day. That's great.
Awesome.
Good job,
That's so
guys.
good.
All right. Okay.
All right, very good. So moving on to our second key to success. This is going to be your strengthening component. So after you've done a little bit of a warm up, we're going to head into sort of a strengthening routine. Now we're going to show you 5 key exercises at home. Obviously, it can be challenging with like limited equipment. And these 5 are not by any means the be all and end all to strengthening. They're just a few ideas for you guys to sort of work the different major muscle groups of your body. So number 1, we're going into the squat. So I would encourage all of you to get up out of your chairs right now. You're going to join Steph and start to make your way through these exercises. Make sure they feel good, that there's no pain, and let us know if you have any questions while you're practicing. So the first
You want
one
me to
with
pin
our
her
squat.
video there, Erin?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll just pin Steph's video. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is your squat. So when you're doing your squat, the first movement you're going to think about is pushing your hips back like you're going to sit into a chair. Awesome, just like Steph is demonstrating there. The other great thing she's doing is keeping a nice straight back, keeping her core engaged. And then from the front view, the other thing you want to think about is pushing your knees out to the side, and as Steph alluded to earlier, not letting them sort of collapse inward, but having that nice control as you go down, pushing the knees out to a nice position there. Okay. So this is very basic. At the end, we're going to talk about sort of ways to make it more challenging, but we're just going through the very basics right now, and your form as well. Things like that, that's important. Awesome. Number 2 is your plank. So your core is a huge power producer in all sports. So here we're talking about the plank. So when it comes to the plank, there's different options. You can do it from your elbows or your hands. But in either case, we want to make sure that your body is essentially a board from shoulders down to feet. So we want a nice straight body, keeping your core tight and engaged. 2 most common mistakes here is that number 1, your bum comes up comes up too high. Perfect, thanks for demonstrating, Steph. And that's taking the load off the core. Second is that your bum drops too low, and now we're coming into more of a cobra type stretch. So really making sure we got a nice straight body there. Awesome. Number 3 is your lunge. So starting to work on some single leg movement here. So with our lunge, what we want to do is take a nice long step. A good lunge is a long lunge. So feet are pointed forward, thinking about dropping that back knee directly to the ground. And you can see Steph does a really nice job here. Both front knee and back knee coming to about 90 degrees. Her trunk is nice and upright. Another sort of common mistake that will happen here is as we lunge, we shift our weight onto that front foot and lean our chest over top of our leg. So we don't want that happening. We want the body nice and upright. Same idea with our squat. We want that knee not quivering in and out, but nice solid position. Awesome. Moving on to number 4, we've got the front of our body. So working on our chest and shoulder muscles. Who doesn't love a good push-up? So when you're setting up for your push-up, hands underneath shoulders. Again, keeping that core engaged. And this is basically starting in your plank position. Thinking about bringing your elbows to 45 degree, dropping chest to the floor, and then engaging your chest to push yourself back up to the top. Steph, that is an excellent push-up. I'm very impressed. If you need to make it a little bit easier, you guys can come down to your knees. Same idea. And a sort of in-between way you can do your push-up is onto a bench or a chair, and Steph's going to demonstrate here. And that's going to make it a little more challenging, but maybe a little bit easier than your full classic push-up. Awesome.
All right. Good workout over there, right?
Yeah, Steph's going to be sweating. She's like not going to be able to make it for the second half of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 5 is working on our back muscles. So this is your row. So I have a couple examples here. Steph is going to demonstrate with a dumbbell or a weight. You can see she's hunched over onto the bench here, her arms supporting her. Her back is straight and thinking about driving your elbow up to the side of your body towards your hip and giving your shoulder blade a squeeze at the top. Now, if you don't have weights at home, grab onto some textbooks, grab onto a backpack, a water jug, anything like that. And you can do the same thing. You can do it two-handed as well, exactly, just like Steph is showing there. Another option would be to pull a TheraBand out or a resistance band, and you can step on that guy and we do the same motion. Steph's running to get
He's running to grab.
TRX is obviously a luxury. I've seen some videos online where people will hook a towel over their door, and then they're somehow like using that for a pulley system. Now, don't quote me directly on this, but maybe just ask your parents first before you throw the towel off. I don't want anyone like ripping towels and breaking doors down or anything like that. Perfect. Okay, so that would be your second sort of key to success, is keeping your muscles strong while you're at home, and kind of having this like purposeful exercise to address muscle strengthening.
Awesome.
How to make these harder? I'm just gonna unpin Steph here.
Yeah, I ended up spotlighting her video. I think that was, we were able to get her a little bit more isolated, so that's good now.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so now that we've gone through those, just leveling up, how do we make these harder at home? This is one of the biggest challenges of being at home with COVID, is we don't have that gym equipment, we don't have our facility that we're working out at. So number one is increase the number of repetitions. So if you're doing 10 of these and you're like, I don't really feel like I'm working too hard, start to up that to 12, 15, 20, and slow things down so you get that burn going. Second is you're gonna hold it at the bottom. So if we take our squat, for example, instead of just blowing through your 10, 15 repetitions, really slow it down, hold that bottom position for 10 plus seconds and start to work your way up as it gets a little bit more challenging. 3 is add weight. We talked about this, getting a backpack or textbooks, water jug. Number 4 is decreasing your rest time. So you'll do sort of one set, maybe instead of taking a minute or two, texting, TikToking, whatever it may be, decrease that amount of time and get into your next set. And your last option would be using a resistance band. Okay, so that would be just generalized strengthening. Moving into sort of our third key to success is going to be our sport-specific training. So we've divided this into 3 categories. The first being cardiovascular, so your heart conditioning. The second being your sport-specific skills, and the third being visualization. So let's go into cardiovascular first. So the importance of cardiovascular training when it comes to sport-specific is that you got to think about what type of cardio am I doing when I'm playing my sport. So for example, if you're a track athlete, if you're a long distance runner, then of course you need to sort of train that endurance piece, that piece where you're running for 20, 30 plus minutes at a time. If you're a hockey player, maybe a soccer player, you sort of have those short bouts of, okay, I've got to go a full out sprint right now, and then I'm going to be able to, you know, hop off the ice or sort of bring my heart rate down a little bit. So we kind of divide those into 2 categories, the sprinting and the endurance. So options for home when it comes to sprinting is you can do what's called high intensity interval training. So this is great to take to like a soccer field, for example. And basically what this is you have a period of absolutely all out, pushing yourself, bringing your heart rate up as high as you can go. So this would look like maybe a sprint across the soccer field. Then you're gonna walk it back, bring your heart rate down to a point where you can catch your breath, you can talk comfortably. And then once you've hit that point, you're gonna spike that heart rate back up again and go for another sprint. If you're a hockey player, for example, instead of running, maybe you wanna throw your rollerblades on and work on your speed skating instead. So you just have to kind of be a little bit creative at home with ways that you can train. Another option we put is Tabata, which is basically 20 seconds on of working hard and then 10 seconds rest. So maybe you would be doing jumping jacks for 20 seconds, 10 seconds break, and you're gonna repeat that 8 times for a total of 4 minutes. When it comes to endurance, that's pretty simple. Trying to sort of match the time that you may be on the field when you're in your sport, and then running, swimming, rollerblading, whatever it may be for sort of that length of time to maintain your cardiovascular fitness. Second is your sport-specific skills. So this is actually the skills that you would be doing while you're in a game scenario. So I've just listed a few here for hockey, working on your stick handling, you know, get your net on your driveway, pull out your sticks in a plastic ball or puck, work on some stick handling, work on your shooting. For example, baseball, your pitching mechanics. See if you can get onto a field and work off throwing off a mound, setting up a tee or a net and working on those mechanics of your swing. Soccer, again, you're dribbling, you're passing, you're shooting, all those types of things, and so on and so forth. You guys are athletes, so you know what you do when you get into a game. So just sort of find ways to implement those at home. And the things and drills that you might do at practice with your team, try to figure out a way, okay, how can I set this up at home? And if you need help, you can always ask your coaches, your teammates, your parents. And I'm sure between all of you guys, you can come up with some creative ways to set that up. The last thing I want to talk about is visualization. So this is arguably one of the most important pieces of sport-specific training, and I think it's the piece that a lot of athletes tend to leave out. And really, this is the piece that will take you to sort of that elite, that higher level. And what visualization is it's basically coming up with a mental image in your head and having that mental image associated with a positive outcome. So putting yourself in the scenario of that game, that championship game that you want to be in. I automatically go to baseball, but like you're up to bat and the winning run is on second or third base, and sort of putting yourself in those scenarios and visualizing, okay, what do my mechanics look like in this situation? How am I going to make myself successful? And when you do this, you really want to use all of your senses from a first person. So when you're in that scenario, what do you hear? Do you hear the fans? Do you hear your parents or coaches yelling at you? Or are you zoned in? What do you see? What is actually in front of you? What do you feel? So we call it kinesthetic, like how does your body feel? Those mechanics specifically, where are your hands? Where are your shoulders? Is your core engaged? Feeling those things happen. And then even things as such as smell and taste, just to make that visualization even stronger. And the great thing about visualization is you can practice it every single day when you're in the shower, before you go to bed, when you're brushing your teeth. It's super easy to implement. And just like we talk about when you're practicing, repetition is so important for success. Visualization is a way to work on that repetition and on those movements. Okay, moving on to our cool down.
Cool. So this is one of our last keys to success here. We're going to talk about how to cool down effectively. So I was really worked up doing all those push-ups. So we need to bring my heart rate down as well. So the first thing that's really easy to do either on your own or with your team after you guys get back together is some deep breathing. So it's super simple to do, feels really good, brings your heart rate down, and it can help with your recovery so you don't feel as sore the next day as well too. So the basic rules of it are you find a comfortable position. So in this case, the people on the screen, they're just lying on their back with their knees bent, eyes closed, one hand on your belly, one hand a little bit higher on your chest. And you just take a nice deep inhale through your nose. You hold it for a few seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. And then you try to hold that breath for another 3 to 5 seconds. And then you take a nice deep exhale, either through your nose or through your mouth, whichever is comfortable. And then you repeat that cycle a few times. So if you want to practice, you're going to put your hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, and you're going to take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Hold that breath, which is hard to do while I'm talking, but hold that breath, and then exhale for 3, 2, 1. And then you would repeat that a few times just to bring that heart rate down. So that's deep breathing. Then our next one is our gentle yoga stretches. So you want to focus on muscles that you've been using as you've been playing your sports. So the big muscles, your glutes, your hamstrings, your back, your hips. If you're a baseball player, your shoulders. And you want to be gentle with these. So you don't want to rush your stretches. You don't want to really push it so you're feeling the pain. You want to breathe through it. So you can actually take that deep breathing that we just talked about and hold your stretch for a few breaths. So I did put together a yoga flow on our Instagram page, which that little arrow is pointing to. And I also put together some stretches as well, 5 key stretches that I think are really helpful, such as the ones in the photos here that you can check out if you want to view our Instagram. And then our last cool down that is useful is the foam rolling. Really great for your big muscles around your hips and your hamstrings and your quads. It's really good to get some of that lactic acid out of your legs if you ever feel that tightness after you've come off a good sprint or a really hard workout. So this helps massage out those muscles, get the blood flow, and get that lactic acid out of there. Really easy to do. And if you don't have a big foam roller like this, you can always use one of those little massage sticks. Those are easy to throw in your gym bag. You can even do it on the car ride home after practice. But if you have one at home, they're really awesome and a great way to cool down.
Awesome. And our last key to success, guys, is a very simple one. It's just staying connected to your team. Teamwork makes the dream work. So obviously it's been tough at home. You guys haven't been able to hang out with your friends or your teammates. And I've heard that a lot of teams are doing this, but just a reminder, setting up either like weekly or bi-weekly Zoom calls, texting groups, just to keep in touch. And another great thing you can do is sort of setting up like weekly team challenges. So whether this is like a sprinting challenge or a keep up challenge or 100 shots on net, things like that. And then you can create a Google Sheet and just sort of track everyone's progress. And if you need help with that, again, you can always ask a parent or coach just to set that up. So in my head, it looks something like this. You throw it at your numbers in, and then, you know, it's a nice competition weekly to see how everyone's doing. Okay. Mike, do you want to take over? Awesome.
Thanks, Aaron. All right, guys. So this brings us to our sort of final segment, and we're really lucky to have Chris Tierney join us tonight. He just hopped on. Chris, how you doing tonight?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome to have you. For everyone watching, Chris is a resident from Keswick, Ontario. Not sure if many people know. He was a former York Simcoe Express AAA hockey player over his minor league career. So we're really lucky to have Chris around the community, and I believe he's back home in the region right now, right, Chris, for the summer?
Yeah, I'm in Aurora right now.
Awesome. So it's great to have you here. And I wanted to talk to Chris tonight for some of the young athletes out here listening. And Chris, we're gonna go through a few questions together.
Sure.
But just kind of to outline a little bit, excuse me, of your career. We got some people popping in the chat here. You played ball hockey at my school and stuff like that.
I saw a couple Gold Leafs go down there actually.
Yeah.
So
you know what? I spared you, Chris.
Okay.
I was gonna pull out my Maple Leafs hat during this interview. I thought,
I bet you would.
I want you to come back. I don't want to do that to you. So
it's okay. I know I'm in Toronto territory right now. So
hey, you never know. We need a 40 to 50 point forward. I don't know if we have enough of that, but anyways.
There you go.
Anyways, so Chris was after York Simcoe Express. He was drafted to the London Knights. I just had a few pictures here showing he was captain by his 4th year of the London Knights. He was then drafted 2nd round to the San Jose Sharks, and Chris spent first half of his career with the Sharks. Actually made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, and there's an image there which I'm going to ask you a question about after. You're lining up. You lined up a lot against Sidney Crosby, which was really cool, and key faceoffs in the finals. So that was awesome. And then finally, your landing spot so far with the Senators, and I'm glad to see you got your old number back, 71. Yeah. Instead of rocking this number 50, which I don't know.
Yeah, linebacker football number.
Okay. All right. So Chris, thanks again. I'm gonna kind of just go through some questions, and then I'm sure there might be some stuff coming through. Maybe Aaron, if you want to pick up some questions on the chat while I'm talking with Chris, then you can keep an eye on that. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So
sure.
First thing, Chris, just to kind of let everyone know, how many years have you played in the NHL, and you're still currently active in the NHL? How many years are you at right now?
I'm pretty sure I just finished my 6th year.
Awesome.
I played 4 years in San Jose. My first year, I kind of split time between the American League team and the Sharks. I think I played about 40 something games with San Jose and 29 games in the minors. And then pretty much I've been full-time since then. I think I played 2 games in the minors my next year, but I played 4 years in San Jose, and then I got traded 2 years ago in the Erik Karlsson deal. And then I got moved to Ottawa. So then I've been there the last 2 years, and I just finished my contract this year, and I'm still a restricted free agent, which means Ottawa still has my rights. So most likely I'll be signing back there.
Okay, that sounds good. I certainly hope you guys get a deal. And too bad you guys aren't, unfortunately, in this little playoff tournament coming up. It sucks, but I guess that's how it goes. So just kind of going back a little bit in your career, what do you remember the most about being a young athlete? Like what kind of memories do you have, or I know there's probably lots, but what would be one kind of thing you'd like to share?
I think just excited to go play hockey every day. I think growing up, especially, we had a pretty good team when I played for York Simcoe. So I think we won 4 OMHAs throughout the years. So we had a very good team, and it was just fun going to the rink every day and being able to play hockey, which obviously is something I want to do my whole life. So I was very fortunate, obviously, to now be in the NHL. But I think just growing up, I just loved the game so much. And, any chance I could, I was playing hockey. I was playing road hockey when I was at home with my friends on my rollerblades, shooting pucks. I couldn't wait to go to practice or go play games. So I think just really growing to love the game when I was younger is something that stands out, and is probably why I'm still playing.
Amazing. Now I know in your off seasons, I've talked to you in the past, and you spend a lot of time on, fitness and exercise to kind of prep you up for the seasons. And tonight we spoke a lot to the kids about, some key tips and staying ready. Any specific tips like you would suggest to young athletes on fitness or exercise? Like anything you could kind of share with them?
Yeah, something when I was younger I think was important was, just doing as many different activities as you can. When I was younger, I was playing hockey during the winters, but I'd be playing soccer during the summers. Kind of that cross training I think people probably talk about, where you get ready, you play hockey, then you're playing soccer. I played basketball and volleyball growing up too. Just try to always keep myself active and trying to sharpen my skills in different ways. If you're a hockey player, if you play lacrosse in the summer, some of those things, your hands and your hand-eye coordination, they kind of translate over. Same with baseball. If you're a baseball player and then, you go and you're playing tennis in the summer or something, there's some hand-eye would, I'm sure, translate over. So I think just being active and, also just practicing whatever sport you are playing. Like I said, I shot a lot of pucks in the summer. I played a lot of road hockey. I was always stick handling in my driveway. Just always just kind of working on things that I like to do, but things that were also enjoyable.
So a lot of cross training, is probably the main thing I'm hearing from you, right?
I think there's a lot of emphasis on just sticking to one sport now and having to train the whole time for that, which I think you do need to put a lot of time into your own sport. But I think, if you're doing it 12 months a year every day, it's, I think you're going to burn out a little bit. You have to kind of diversify. Not saying that you can't keep playing hockey, but yeah. I think, the more you kind of get outside and do other things too is going to help.
Okay. I know I had a question earlier in the week. Someone emailed me. Their son loves to play sports. He doesn't have that sort of necessary competitive sort of juices. And is there any tips or advice for athletes to gain a competitive advantage, whether in their sport, or how did you prep yourself or get yourself really geared up for games, or even through AAA, junior, and now the NHL? How did you get yourself motivated and up to play and such?
Yeah, I think, since I was a little kid, my goal was to play in the NHL. So, I think, at some point I recognized that, to get there, I'm going to have to kind of put the work in, and I'm going to have to, do things that maybe I don't want to do some days, where it's, I'm tired one day, I will only want to shoot 20 pucks, I'm going to go shoot 100 or something. So I think just setting goals for yourself too is important. If you do want to be a professional athlete, or you do want to get to a certain point, play college, whatever it may be, I think, setting goals and realizing that you're going to have to put extra work in sometimes when you don't feel like it to get to that next level is very important. And I think just having a competitive edge, I'm a pretty competitive guy, whether it's playing board games or card games or playing sports. So you could probably ask my fiance about that, and she'd say I'm very competitive, maybe a little too much when it comes to those games. But I think just wanting to win and kind of always wanting to, you know, be the best player when you're out there, whether it's on the ice or on a field. You know, you want to be the best player during that game, kind of gives you a drive to, you know, do your best every day.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up the point about working hard, because, you know, I coach baseball, minor baseball, and you know, a lot of the, like, I preach this all the time, you know, you guys, you got to work hard, and you know, I would imagine you're going to basically say the same thing. My question is, like, what about all this hard work? Is it really necessary, even as a young athlete? Really, do we have to do all this hard work?
Yeah, for sure it is.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, you know, I did a lot of things in the summer. You know, a lot of power skating that I hated to go to, that I didn't want to, but, you know, I try to become a better skater. You know, like I said, the same thing about shooting pucks. Sometimes you don't want to. You know, sometimes practices are late at night. You don't feel like going, or you don't feel like working hard that day. But it really matters putting in that hard work. If you start getting lazy and you start getting sloppy during your practices, that's going to bleed into your games. Everything translates over. The old saying, practice like you play, is something that, you know, even the last couple of years, I kind of learned more and more that it's true. You look at the best players in the world. You know, when I get to play with Joe Thornton, or, you know, I skate with Connor McDavid in the summer, they're the best players in practice and in the gym every day, because they work so hard, because they want to be the best, and they realize to get to that level and to stay at that level, they got to keep working harder than everyone else. So I think, you know, anywhere you look, any sport you look, baseball, hockey, guys the hardest working are usually the best players.
Yeah, well put. Well put. Now, any specific tips to help sharpen your mental game? Anything that you could tell the kids? Anything that you use, maybe your own personal experience, to improve sort of your mental toughness?
Yeah, you know, I think growing up too, especially when I was younger, you know, on the way to games or practices, I was usually thinking about what was coming up during that game. You know, I was kind of visualizing. I think that's a good tip a lot of people use too, is kind of, you know, thinking about what you're going to do, thinking about, you know, whether it's on the baseball field or, you know, whether it's on the ice, thinking about, you know, if I get this ball or puck in this situation, what am I going to do with it? If I face this certain person at this time, how am I going to react to it? I think prepping yourself mentally before you go into any games or practices, that's, you know, maybe for a practice you're thinking you're going to, you know, make sure in your mind you keep saying, you know, I'm going to work the hardest today, and keep repeating it to yourself. You know, I think that muscle memory and that drive, and, you know, you keep telling yourself you're going to be the best and you're going to work the hardest. I think that starts, you know, just coming out as you keep thinking it.
And so Chris, would you say, has that carried through into the NHL? Like, when you're on your way to a game, like game day, are you thinking about matchups? Are you thinking about, you know, who the opposing center is, who you got to face off against, all that stuff? Would you say that carries through right now?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think every level you go up, it just gets amps up even more every level. You know, in junior was the first time we started watching video on the other team, and, you know, now, you know, before games, we watch video, we talk about every center who I could face off against, what they like to do on the draws, what they like to do against righties and lefties, if they're on their forehand, backhand. There's so much preparation that goes into every game that, you know, you got to be sharp every day, because if you miss or don't pay attention one day, or you're not sure what you're doing on the power play or penalty kill that day, we change it basically every game to who we're going to play. So, you know, that's when you start getting sloppy, and, you know, you start not playing well.
Okay, good advice. Okay, so last thing here, all great information. Like, I hope a lot of the kids listening in are, you know, picking up on some of this stuff. But what's the best thing that you learned from your coaches as a young athlete? What do you think was the best thing that you learned?
Yeah, I think, you know, just like we were talking about, just working hard every day. You know, I think it's something that, like I said before earlier, that, you know, practice like you play is something that really matters. I think I learned that growing up. Every year I got older, that, every year I started realizing, okay, this is actually real. If you want to be the best player, you have to practice the hardest as well. And it started when I was in minor hockey, and then kind of led to junior, and now into the NHL. That's just, I think, work hard every day. If you really want to be an athlete when you're older, and you really want to be the best, that every day, every practice, you're going to have to try the best you can. But I think I also learned you got to have fun. You got to enjoy doing what you do. Guys who don't love the game, and if you don't really love it, you're probably not going to want to work hard at it. So if you love it, I think you can find it deep down to work hard enough.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think you've touched on a lot of neat points, kind of ranging all the kids probably on tonight. There's a variety of house league, rep, some select, and then some elite athletes on here tonight. And you discussed things such as hard work and having fun, and then a little bit more competitively with visualization, practicing as hard like you want to play. These are all, I mean, it's a good span of information for any athlete. So kids out there, don't think, I'm not going into the NHL. I'm not going into, I'm not going to be a professional tennis player. Like, that's okay. Like, these are the kind of things that, as a young athlete, you want to learn. These are little advantages, little tips, like you're hearing from Chris, you're telling us tonight, some of the things that helped him. And again, take a little nugget out of this tonight and put it into what you do, and maybe you'll get some more fun out of your sport. So that's kind of our hope tonight. And Chris, I really appreciate you sharing, a bit of your experience there. It means a lot for some of these athletes. So that's great. You don't mind hanging around for a quick little question and answer period, do you?
No worries. I'm good.
Okay. So Aaron, if you want to flip along to the next screen. So anyone, if you have any questions, we're going to do a giveaway too. So maybe while people, if you're typing into the chat, put in a question if you'd like, either to any of us, Aaron, Stephanie, myself, or if you want to ask Chris a specific question about his experience and maybe a tip, feel free to type it into the chat. Any of the stuff that we've gone over tonight, we do have some exercise sheets and some little tip sheets that we're going to send out to everyone. So we will email that out to everyone, so you can have something physically in your hand, or you can read it on your email. Stephanie and Aaron have prepared that for us tonight. So maybe while we're waiting for the chat, we're going to do a couple giveaways here. And I'm going to get, with Chris being on here, I'm going to get a couple autographs done. Chris is going to do a couple autographs, and we'll get those out to the folks who win. I see there's a question coming in. We'll go back to that question in a second. Let's do the giveaways, and then we'll answer the question that you guys have here, okay? So Aaron, I'm just going to share my screen, and then I'll get you to go back onto yours. Sound good? Okay. So all right, so everyone should see this screen here, which is my wheel of names. I love doing this. And basically, we're going to click this, and if it stops on your name, you're the winner. And we're going to do a couple of these draws. So I'm going to give it a little spin here and see what we get. And we're going to couple autographs from Chris. So first one, Andrew B. So let's see, is Andrew on this? I think I saw him on there. Yes, I did see him. Was he in there, guys? Did you guys notice? Andrew, if you're here, just type in to the chat, I'm here.
Andrew Brown?
Andrew Brown, yes. Do you see Andrew there? Andrew, speak up if you're here. If not, we're going to do another draw. Let's see here.
Maybe he's a Leafs fan.
He's probably a Leafs fan. He doesn't want your autograph. Okay, let's do it again here. All right, let's see who we get next. Ooh, Nathan. Is Nathan on? Have you guys, can you check the participant list? Do we got Nathan here?
Nathan Lambert.
Nathan is here.
He's here.
He's wrote in the chat.
Yes. Pardon me?
I just said he's written in the chat.
All right, we got a winner so far. Good. Wicked. That's one.
Congrats, Nathan.
Congrats, Nathan. Don't worry, Chris's autograph is going to be worth a lot of money. Right, Chris? We're going to make this
Yeah. Just give me a few years.
Hart trophy in a few years, right, Chris? Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. Here we go. And then we'll get to some questions here. So let's see if we get another winner. You guys check to see. Ooh, Karen Burry. Is Karen? I don't know if Karen's on this. I didn't see her there. No?
I don't see her.
No. Okay, we're gonna redo. I didn't think I saw her name. Okay, here we go. Sometimes it takes a little while. Oh, I see Shane Nimney. I think Shane's on this. I saw his name there. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right, Shane, congrats. We're going to get you guys. So we got Shane Nimney and we've got Nathan Lambert, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Aaron, if you want to pull up your screen again, please do so. I'm going to stop share mine. And Aaron, you're going to share yours?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to a couple of the questions here, guys. Let me just see here what we've got. Chris, what was the hardest thing you experienced while playing hockey? So maybe through your career, what do you think the hardest thing's been that you've experienced?
Yeah, just the downs are tough. Growing up, I remember going out for kind of an all-star like select summer team where they kind of try out from like kind of the best players from each minor hockey team, and you go for a team. I think it's called the East Coast Selects at the time, and I remember getting cut from that when I was about 12 or 13 and being pretty upset. So those kind of things kind of stick with you, I guess, but I think they kind of motivate you as well. But those are just tough things to overcome. I had plenty of slumps when I was younger too. I sometimes would start the season 10, 15 games with a goal, and those are tough times. A lot of nights coming home crying, thinking I'm never going to be able to score again. So just kind of getting over that adversity and building confidence, and kind of learning how to motivate yourself and stay confident through those times, and kind of reassure yourself that you're a good player and things are going to be all right. I think I learned those when I was younger, and that's how you kind of prepare yourself for as you get older for the next levels. Perfect.
A question from Paul here was, tell us what it felt like to be in the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, that's a dream.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to get to the finals, I think is a dream. Unfortunately, you guys didn't pull it out, but I mean, there's many players who'll play their whole career and never get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah, for sure. That was definitely, playing in the NHL and going to the Stanley Cup Final were, my two dreams as a kid. So to be able to do that and, to play a team like Pittsburgh and, like you said, to go against a guy like Crosby on a lot of face-offs was, pretty surreal to start the finals. So it's something that, I'll remember forever, and hopefully one day can, share with my family and kids one day, and, show them pictures and, prove I was, there and actually played against these guys. You had a good playoff run that year. I think in that year you had, I thought I saw like it was 12 to 15 points that playoff run, right? Like I was looking at that. It looked good. Yeah, I'm not sure the number. I think I got to double digits, but I think we had a good run. Everybody on the team was contributing, so that's what kind of made it successful. We were a pretty deep team that year, and guys were chipping in all over the place. Amazing. Okay, so just a question for Aaron and Steph. This came from Jeff. He's asking, as a coach, I always use dynamic stretching for my team. How much time should a team be doing dynamic stretching? Aaron, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah. Hey, Dad. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you
Nice.
for supporting me. So in terms of time, I would say like when you're dynamic stretching, you basically just want to make sure you're getting all the major muscle groups, in particular, the ones that you're using during the sport that you play. So making sure like you're getting your quads, your hamstrings, your calves, your hip flexors, you're opening your hips, your back, all those types of things. I think the dynamic stretching component specifically to get all those things done is going to take you anywhere from like 5 to 15 minutes.
Perfect.
Steph,
Okay.
anything else to add? Okay, perfect.
Again, a few more questions here, so we're going to get to them. Claudia asks, how do we as parents know when to push and when to hold back? So probably, you know, thinking about when to push the kids a little bit more, when to hold back. Chris, any comment on that at all? Like in your experience, could you speak on when you knew, you know, whether your mom or dad were pushing you too hard, or maybe when they had to kind of scale back a bit?
Yeah, it's hard for me to kind of answer that because you know, my dad was my coach growing up, and you know, he pushed pretty hard, but you know, I think as I got older, he realized you know, you're not going to play perfect every game. You know, you're not going to you know, be, you know, not everybody's Connor McDavid where they're going to go out and score 5 points every game they play. So I think finding a good balance. I think you can tell when, you know, you don't want to, you know, when a kid's down, you don't want to kind of bury them further. So I think just boosting up confidence. You know, I think sometimes you do got to push a kid if, you know, he has the potential, or, you know, he has more to give, and, you know, he's being lazy or not. But I think also positive reinforcement when he is doing a good job is good to build the confidence. And, you know, when you have bad games, you know, it's you know, constructive criticism, you know, it's everything's going to be okay, but let's try this, let's try that. So I think there's a fine line where, and you just got to kind of feel it out, how people react. Different people react to, you know, some people can take the push, and some people, you know, play better. Like, for example, I'm a player who would play better once I get yelled at, and some players can kind of go into a shell and not play well. So I think it's just knowing who you're dealing with, really.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent myself and a coach, I agree with you. It's building confidence in the kids is super important. Sometimes us as parents or as coaches, we want it more than the kids do, and we project that through them, and we maybe get frustrated with them not doing it well enough. But I think it's important to understand to push them hard enough where you see that they're still having fun and enjoying what they're doing, and they're staying competitive within what they want to get out of it. And as long as they're having fun and they're confident with what they're doing, then I think that's the pressure point there. Mm-hmm. Ethan writes in here, Chris, how early do you arrive to a game when it's game day?
I usually show up about like 2.5 hours before the game. We have to go over a bunch of video and stuff, so we have to be there at least 2 hours. I usually I'm one of the last guys to show up, actually. Yeah, I like to show up like around like 2:15, because I think, you know,
late, eh, Chris? Fashionably late.
You know, 2:15 is long enough for me, but some guys will like to show up 3.5 hours before.
Yeah.
So
all right.
It depends.
Couple other last questions here. How do you overcome the fear of failure so that you're more willing to take chances or risks while you're competing? What would you say about that?
Yeah, it's tough. You know, it's something I think everybody, you know, you don't want to disappoint, or you don't want to, you like you said, fail. You don't want to get cut. You don't want to, you know, go out and be the reason your team lost. And I think a lot of people still struggle with that. I still, you know, find myself thinking about that sometimes today, where, you know, you don't want to be the reason your team lost. But I think at the end of the day, especially in sports, when it all boils down to it, it's a game. And, you know, there's a lot worse things going on in the world than, you know, a baseball game or a hockey game. So I think just doing the best you can and trying the hardest, and you just got to live with the results. You know, as long as you know you did everything you could for your team and everything you could for yourself, and you can, you know, look yourself in the mirror and say you tried your best, I think that's all that matters. And everything else, you just have to, you know, not worry about it. It's a game. Sometimes you're going to get the bounces, sometimes you're not. And, there's always probably going to be another game. So you just got to move on after that.
Perfect. And I guess one of the questions here, how did you stay motivated? I think I know how you'll answer that, but just, for the sake of answering it, keeping yourself motivated throughout your career, is it just the desire to kind of work hard and keep going, competing?
I wanted to play in the NHL, and I wanted to be one of the best players every time I was on the ice. So, I wanted to get drafted to the OHL, and then I wanted to get drafted to the NHL, and then I wanted to make the NHL. Kind of set the goal. Now I want to win, Stanley Cup, and I want to help my team win. So I think there's always been a motivation to just push yourself to be better, to get to that next stage. And I still find myself thinking every summer that I still have another gear and another level I can get to, and I can get better every year. So that's I guess what kind of motivates me. Yeah,
goal setting sounds like that's the best thing for sure. And it looks like last thing here, how long do you train per day? Like what in your off season, how much training are you doing in a day?
It's anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours usually. It depends. Some days you go out, you work out for an hour and then you go skate for an hour. But, I'm not one of those guys who's going and training, 4 or 5 hours a day. I think the season's long enough that in the off season, you want to keep your body, strong and healthy, but, you don't want to push it too much. I think that's when you can get into injuries when you overdo some things. So it depends on the day, but anywhere from an hour to 2 hours is usually the kind of work we're putting in, where it's either in the gym or on the track or on the ice. So just kind of work on different things.
All right. And last question, this is coming from my son. How do you cope with the stress of all the fans watching? So that'll kind of be a good way to finish here. How do you cope with the stress of all these people looking at you? Yeah. And I know you had a penalty shot in Toronto a few years ago with San Jose, I think it was, and it was like, you're back home, you got all these people like in Leafland. Like, how do you cope with that stress?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous before that one, I remember actually, but yeah, sometimes you get nervous, before a big game, before a penalty shot for sure, when it's kind of everything's focused on you. But, I find once the game starts, you're a team out there. If you're playing a team sport, individual's a little bit different. I'm not sure. I think they might feel a little more pressure in the individual. But I think once you get playing the game and, for me, once the puck drops, it feels like you're just playing hockey. You kind of block out the crowd. You block out any outside thoughts of what people are thinking or what the crowd's thinking, and you just play the game. It's you just kind of break it down to simply as like, I'm just going to go play the game I love, play hockey, and not try to worry about what anybody else thinks. Just do the best I can and try to support the team.
Amazing. All right. I think that wraps it up. So just in finishing here, guys, can you go back a screen there, Aaron? Yeah. So just for folks out there, if you have any specific questions, maybe something you need asked about your child or for yourself, maybe a health issue you're having, you could certainly call our office, speak to one of us. We're also doing some virtual stuff if you can't make it into the office. You can reach Steph or Aaron on email or email the clinic directly that's listed down there. But feel free to give us a buzz there. And next thing, this is where we're located in Aurora, so across from the Superstore. So kids, check us out on Instagram, Aurora Sports Med Pros, or maybe Facebook for some of the parents there who are on that Aurora Sports Med Pro. And that's it. Other than that, folks, listen, thanks so much, Chris. Once again, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule and your off season right now. And I really think a lot of the kids gained a lot of useful information tonight. It's always nice to hear from someone who's there and what they're doing how to get there. So yeah, thanks, Chris, for your help tonight. And Aaron and Steph, thank you guys. Wonderful presentation. And again, folks, if you have questions, just let us know, shoot us an email. The recording of this webinar will be on our website, so feel free to, I'll send out a link to that. Feel free to pass it along to teammates on your team and share it around. That's awesome. So until further ado, everyone enjoy the rest of your summer. Chris, have a great off season here, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you either in a Sens jersey or hopefully in a better team's jersey. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see.
Okay. Thank you.
But no, we hope you find a good landing spot, and enjoy the rest of the summer.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for
Thank
tuning
you.
in.
Thank you,
Take care,
guys.
everyone. Bye now.
Bye.